Our next speaker is a recent alum from our MBA program, Gian-Luca Matsuda. There he is.
Hi, everybody. Sorry. Hi, everybody. My name is Gian-Luca Matsuda. I am a recent MBA graduate from spring of 2022. And as a part of my capstone project, I worked with CEJS and with Pagliacci Pizza to track their carbon emissions and to produce a package to track the carbon emissions, produce the outcome of the tracking, and then produce a package of recommendations for upgrades to their equipment and to their buildings as they are going through both building new buildings and then renovating some of their old ones. And I have a lot of slides, so I'm going to speed through this. So that's just a quick view of me and the team. It was two of us. We had a two-prong approach. So it was me and Robert working with Pagliacci on their carbon emissions tracking and the recommendations. And then Kyle and Wayne were working on community outreach to drum up awareness for other businesses so that CEJS could continue working with other businesses. I'm going to slide through some of these here. That's just sort of the project goals there. This is scoping for emissions. We worked mostly in scope 1 and a little bit of scope 2, but because it was a single semester, we didn't have, the time to collect, a ton of data, but we were able to get a good start on their baseline. So I'll slide through here. Sorry, I adapted this. So the start of this was to use the climate impact guide that CEJS provides. And so it's essentially a 9-step guide. And the first thing you do is you collect data to understand where your baseline for emissions are. So how much you are emitting today. You track that, and then year over year, you receive recommendations and for things like rebates, equipment, grants, tax incentives. So, and then you track every year so that you can confirm that the work you're doing to lower your emissions is actually working by just tracking the data. So these are just examples of the actual tracking tool that exists within the guide. That's one of the main tools there. That's the year-over-year summary. This is the annual, or that's more of that. This is the annual summary. So this is the output for every year. This is some of the input I collected for natural gas. This is for their product delivery mileage. So the delivery of product from the vendor and their commissary to their individual locations, the actual tracking of the emissions of those delivery trucks. And then this is just some of the information that they sent us so that I could discern from this how many miles every single location received in deliveries per year. As you can see, it's not a lot of information. So that was a lot of the majority of the work went into turning this into this line here specifically. That is what I got from this. And that's just sort of a screen that shows you how I did that. I just converted the addresses into latitudinal and longitudinal coordinates, ran some formulas to find the distance between the two, and then just extrapolated that out for the year. And so the end result was we started with a baseline for product transport and gas emissions for the gas stoves and the heating in their buildings. We do not use electricity. We don't track that because in the city of Seattle, electricity is considered to be carbon neutral. And so the utility company tracks that, so the end user doesn't really have to. And then I did some analysis so that they were able to see all of this garble of numbers as a percentage of emissions by type for their entire company. And then we also had a series of recommendations for upgraded equipment like this electric stove with rebates, federal grants, state-based grants, and tax incentives so that they could, recuperate some of the money that they're spending and trying to upgrade their business. And so this is just some of the visual output of the data. This is emissions by location, and then this is emissions by type as a percentage of total business emissions. And then this was just a Tableau data visualization dashboard I built for them so that if they, just as a proof of concept, so if they ever wanted to have some sort of outward facing data point for, customers to see what they were working on, they could build something like this and then just sort of pump it into a more, visually pretty dashboard. So some of the caveats to the data is that obviously mileage is going to be very much so an estimate. When you're calculating distance between 2 points, it's as the crow flies, so it's basically a straight line as opposed to considering roads and bridges and whatnot. As I said, electricity is not tracked in Seattle. There are some locations that are not in Seattle, and that is, that will require some further analysis. We also did not get delivery driver mileage. We just didn't have the time to do that within a standard semester. So, but that would be a big point that they would want to continue working with CEJS to collect all of that data and track it year over year. And that's just the playbook, and yeah, that's it.